What is up, Arrowheads, and welcome to the Arrow Recap Show here on Collider Video. My name is Ann Campea, and I'm so happy you're all able to join us for Arrow Season 4, Episode 13. I'm going to get it right this time, you guys. Sins of the Father. I'm here to host the show as well as my brothers, starting with Josh Macuga to my right.
Guys, I lost my hand. Can you see? No, it didn't. It kind of looks like if I lost
It does kind of look like it right there. Yep. And Michael Medina to my left.
Welcome. Great to be here.
And Jason Inman.
You will not threaten me, Oliver. Happy to be here.
And we are here to talk all things Arrow. Make sure to tweet us using the hashtag ColliderArrow. And we'll take your questions every week to talk about that night's episode. And so for tonight, Sins of the Father, let's talk about all the good, all the bad, and starting with our overall impressions of tonight's episode. And Josh, I'm going to start with you in terms of what you thought about tonight's episode.
Kind of like Sins of the Writer. It was like...
That was clever. Nice.
It was like, it was an average episode. I thought 95% of the episode was just like meh, and 5% was awesome. So if you were going to like average it out, it would still be like a C+.
Yeah, for me, it was like, okay, so I used to love the NBA, but what I realized is that you don't really have to watch the whole game. You just watch like the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And so that's what it felt like. Is like you could have skipped 40 minutes of tonight's episode, and you really only needed that last act. Yep. Exactly. So for that, I'm a little disappointed considering this whole season has been amazing, and then to kind of dip a little bit for me is a little bit of a disappointment. But again, we have a lot to talk about, so there was stuff that I have to note for tonight's episode as well. Michael?
No, I agree with that 100%. I mean, the last couple minutes was where it was at. And I think the reason why this episode felt, I guess, as poorly as it did was because last week's episode was so fantastic. I think we can all agree it was probably the best episode of the season.
Yeah. We actually came off of like a run of 2. Like that were great.
Yeah,
absolutely. So even like if this episode would have come out prior, it might have been okay, but because those episodes are so great, it just felt that much worse.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think this episode reminded me the most of season 3. Now that might be a lot because it was like the League of Assassins and all that type of stuff, but it was like arguing against like who can control the League of Assassins, and oh, we got problems with Thea again, and oh, you caused this, Malcolm, no, you caused this, Oliver, no, you caused this, Nissa, and oh, we gotta talk to them about the mayor. I cannot tell you how much I just don't care about the League of Assassins on this show anymore, and I wish they would put that storyline to bed. I thought we did put it to bed when Oliver killed Ra's al Ghul last season, but apparently not. And I thought that whole thing brought the episode down. But a good thing, I think, one of the fathers that did not sin, I thought, was the calculator.
Yeah.
I like that storyline.
Trying to make amends with Felicity. Let's start with that one then. I mean, here's the calculator, Noah, back in Felicity's life. He, right away, all of us were like, wow, they got right to the point when...
Yeah, they did not put around the bush.
Yeah, the very first scene when Noah discloses to Felicity, I'm your father, and I know that you are Overwatch. I mean, was that a surprise? I think that was a surprise to me. You guys heard me say like, "Oh shoot!" They actually got to that right away.
All of us were just like, "Whoa!" We thought because you thought that would be a thing they'd save.
Of course,
definitely.
Stretch that out a bit.
It's weird for like a guy that seems sort of a good casting on this, like kind of super villainous, right? Anybody in today's world that can control the computers, if you watch Mr. Robot or something like that, is like, it scares the hell out of me, right? Because they can do way more damage than
Are
like
you
a bunch
scared of the machines?
Yeah, I am scared of the machines.
Don't look behind you.
Yeah, the calculator, whether it's TI-83 or T-89, I'm still scared of it, okay? And he really just came out with these like, listen, I'm the calculator. Maybe that was like smoke and mirrors kind of thing because he's going to eventually, but I don't know, there's something about him, like when he's walking around that laboratory, like, yeah, it's one of those old episodes of television where the dad comes back or the bad cousin who's an alcoholic and he steals something from the house and then it's like, something bad.
Yeah, and it's really schemy, right? I mean, Michael, what do you think?
Skeevy.
I agree, and I thought the same thing. I mean, I've watched enough television in my life, and I've seen that played out so many times. But you know what? Maybe it's just the actor himself. I know I can't picture this actor. I know we talked about this when we were watching. Like, where have we seen this guy?
We've seen this guy around.
He gets
before,
work. We know, but he really delivered, and I liked his chemistry with Felicity, and I bought every second of it, even down to the very end when he gets arrested. I mean, everything about that. We'll touch on that a little bit later, but he really sold it for me.
Yeah.
And I remember speculating even back to season 2 maybe, when everyone was wondering who is Felicity's father, right? So a lot of people thought maybe it was Amazo or whoever. And now we finally have Felicity's father in tonight's episode, revealing himself, obviously. We have both of her parents, actually. And I have to say, one of my favorite scenes of tonight's episode was actually with not her father, the calculator, but with her mother, Mama Smoke, you know, and she has that heart-to-heart with Felicity when Felicity tells her that Dad is back in my life. And she's like, Felicity, people don't change. And I took that to heart because I wonder if that's foreshadowing of anybody else in Arrow rather than just Noah. Is it foreshadowing of Oliver? Is it foreshadowing of anyone else, Merlin, anyone who has taken that turn? So I did like that scene with Mama Smoke. I thought it was a pretty powerful scene, something out of her character where we finally kind of see her being serious.
Right, because most of the time she's kind of a caricature a little bit.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Like even that's the way that scene started off. She was very much just like, oh, my boo-boo bear or whatever. And then she got really serious. And I like seeing that side of Mama Smoke.
I mean, but do you guys buy it? Do you buy that Noah is, genuinely trying to be back in Felicity's life?
No.
He's villain.
so.
He's there for
Yeah.
a reason. I actually think he's there to steal the T-spheres.
Okay.
Because they focused a little bit too much on him picking it up and kind of looking at it and being like, oh, what is this? Da, da, da. I think somehow he's hacked some file, found out about those T-spheres, and that he's making his move.
They continue to taunt me with those.
Every time they show them, like me and Mike are like, use them!
Sleight of hand, he takes one and puts like a mimic one down, even though he's never seen one
Like a
before.
magic
I don't know, I
eight
just
ball
like
or
to
something.
recall it.
Stress ball.
Yep, exactly.
So outside of, what's going on with the Smoke family, let's move on to some of the more relevant, storyline of tonight's episode with Nissa versus Malcolm.
Sorry, can we talk about what I think is the most relevant storyline of this entire episode? You ready? The mention of a long-forgotten character that we haven't seen since the pilot, Raisa, and her amazing home cooking.
It's so bad that when they mentioned her name, I was like, wait, who? Like, I completely forgot about her. I completely got her from memory.
They were just shortening, like giving Ra's al Ghul a nickname. They're like, oh, Race is around.
Yeah, because she's only had like one scene in the entire show, the pilot, where she was like, "Oh, you missed my food, Mr. Guidi." He's like, "Yes, I did."
The thing is I just rewatched season 1, which she's fresh in my memory, and so I remember reading an article saying that she was actually supposed to be a recurring character, and then when they realized that she really had no purpose, they were like, "Okay, let's take her off."
Do we think she's in the grave?
Ooh.
Yes.
Hashtag Raisa in the grave.
You know what? Somebody brought up on Twitter, by the way, that what if there's like 15 people in that one grave?
Geez.
Raisa could be one of them. Who knows?
A mass grave. Are we really going that dark, guys? This is not like a Serbian genocide movie from the early 90s.
After this episode, it could be the entire League of Assassins.
The Foot Clan. The Foot Clan and the League of Assassins hang out at a bar full of terrible, terrible karate
That's going to be my
masters.
negative. We talked about that, but I'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
I wanted to give shout out to Raisa because I thought that's a nice little wink back to season 1.
That is true. That is true. So from Raisa to Ra's al Ghul, that obviously that title has been passed around from multiple people, and tonight we see it passed around once again. So we have Nissa versus Malcolm. We have Oliver kind of caught in between, and I have to think, for me, I feel like Oliver made the right decision. He was again true to his character, saying, I'm going to put myself in the middle of this conflict in order to save my sister. I mean, what did you guys think of Oliver, almost sacrificing himself for that?
That's what I love the most of this whole entire episode. Because right now he's basically putting a bullseye on his back because he knows that, Raisha or Malcolm knows about his son. And like, I did not see that coming about. I knew he wasn't going to kill him, but when he just went straight for the arm, I was like, oh my God, that was a fantastic scene. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but it was almost reminiscent of like when he was on the mountain with Raish last season. Yeah, I mean, it was just that impactful for me. It was great.
It was the best scene of the entire episode. My only nitpick, and this is more for the bad than that, which is how short that fight was.
Yeah.
That fight was like 5 sword hits and then chop.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh man, they're cutting for time. We got to edit this episode now.
And I love, like, we were joking around how it's just on the top of some random like building.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here, guys.
Hey,
Ignore
Pam,
these
have you seen the Penske files? There's somebody's hand that's going to come out the building next door. Every office building in downtown. Anyway, here's my thing is maybe they were using that as a device to show that Oliver has gotten that much better.
Mm-hmm. That's what I hope it was.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess would be the only reason for it. But would you necessarily use in that scene, like we've been waiting for a fight between him and Malcolm for so long, and it's so short. It was almost like it was a little shorthanded.
Maybe it was a tease. Maybe we're going to get more of that next season. Maybe we might get more of that later this season. Maybe that was just kind of whet our appetite.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it does definitely set it up, and that's part of my predictions for later.
He's called Kingslayer.
Well, the interesting thing about it is that you have to think about that is the end of the Dark Archer.
Yeah.
Because he cannot fire a bow anymore.
I mean, maybe they put his hand on ice.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
No, maybe they give him the Kingslayer. They give him like a gold hand. You know what I mean? I mean, we all know in Arrow, I mean, eventually Oliver Queen has a fake arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
maybe he'll bring Tommy back, the Lazarus Pit, and he'll follow in his father's footsteps.
With his hand?
And they'll follow his hand back. Yeah, they'll bring his hand back.
That'll be like the thing.
So Nyssa, obviously, you know, we see Nyssa, she throws the ring that signifies that you're the leader of the League of Assassins, the demon head. She throws it in this like random pit of steel melting.
This really hot steel
stuff.
plate.
Yeah, so she gives that up. I mean, for me, I was thinking like, why did you do that? But again, true to character, I guess that's what Nyssa would have done. Do you guys object to that?
I don't. I like the fact that it just kind of shows how her character's grown a little bit, because I feel like in the early days, and I love Nyssa. I've never hidden that fact. I love the
how
character.
You mispronounce her name every
Nyssa?
episode.
I don't.
Nyssa.
That's how I call her. Nyssa. I don't care. It's just like when on the show, when I was like, some people call him Raish, other people call him Ross.
No. There is a system.
Okay.
If you're in the league, you call him Raish. If you're outside the league, you call him Roz.
Get out of here.
You're in the league then, because
I'm
you
in
just
the
called
league.
him Raish.
I'm in the league.
If you,
All right,
if you
Michael.
go back and watch the third season, that's exactly how they do it.
Never noticed that.
Yeah.
That's
Interesting.
nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look back. No, but I like in the beginning she seemed a little one note to me, but I like that. I kind of choose to forget those scenes. But last season when she's having like the French fries and milkshakes with Laurel and stuff like that, it's like I don't want that Nyssa.
I kind of want that.
But
She's so nice. She's like eating French fries. Like, take her on a date to Friendlies or something. I'm in.
But I like that she's shown a little growth, a little bit more layers to her character. I'm very curious to see where she goes from here on out.
I agree. I feel like it was a very good choice for her character. And also, if you go off the title of this episode, Sins of the Father, that's her burning away the sins of her father. I mean, it was interesting that we had 3 storylines that all dealt with a father-daughter relationship in 3 different scenes, which I kind of thought was very cool. We don't get to see that often.
Right.
Some of them worked better than others. But I don't know. Like I hope this puts the league to bed. We defeated the league last season. We defeated its leader. We've burned away the league. Literally, we got to see it burn away. Let's not see it anymore.
I mean, you can't possibly find 20 to 30 more incompetent men in Tibet to fight for you in a mountain castle. Okay, those guys should be working at Chick-fil-A and screwing up my sandwich every time I go there. Okay, because they are awful at their jobs.
Don't say Chick-fil-A. I'm offended by that. Say Chipotle or
Sorry,
something.
Chipotle. Never. Every time I go, never mind.
There was also, by the way, there was a really, really cool Easter egg. I didn't notice many Easter eggs, but I thought there was a nice little wink. At one point in the episode, they said 7th and Rucka. Greg Rucka is a comic book writer who created Nyssa Al Ghul.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I love those. So I feel like, you know, in terms of positives and negatives, we are pretty balanced in tonight's episode, or maybe even offset by some of the negatives that we saw. And again, not every episode has to be perfect. And so for
This doesn't mean we didn't enjoy the episode.
Exactly. And for this one, we all
Jason's already
clearly
going,
enjoyed it. Maybe not Jason, but I think there definitely were some things that could have been improved upon. So let's go on to those, because we kind of touched upon some of them. I think for me, one of them had to be the, again, minimal exposure of Damien Dark. And I know that they are using him in the, you know, as minimum as possible leading up to the finale. But I feel like we still need him in some respect, like not just coming in to hear Malcolm tell him that William is the guy you should be after.
It's kind of like, you know, like when you got in trouble when you were a kid and your mom was like, just wait till your dad gets home. And then you're just like, dad comes in, he's like, what did you do? We've like, Oliver, if you're waiting, Oliver's been waiting for Damien Dark to come back around. He can't just be sitting around going like, maybe Damien's not coming back. It's not a big deal. But then you know Damien Dark is going to come back with a vengeance, right?
It's interesting because I feel that this main villain is Damien Dark started with a lot of promise and now is falling into the same traps that Ra's al Ghul fell last season. Because if you look at season 1 and you look at season 2, you know, the first half of the season, like, oh, we fight this guy like once or twice. He kicks our butt, and then about halfway during the season, some revelation happens, and it's just a ratcheting of this villain like Deathstroke or Malcolm Merlin, just like boom, 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 until they attack the whole city, and you're just like, whoa.
Absolutely. Season 2 was like it with Deathstroke, where Deathstroke was on the island in the flashbacks, and in the second half, he came to Starling City, so he never went away. I feel like, and we talk about this, Flash
it's a progression, and we're not getting that this season at all, because he's been gone for 5 episodes.
And we not only have we gotten our butts kicked by Damien Dark, but we haven't even seen a window of opportunity to maybe win.
Yeah.
It seems impossible.
It does.
Because every time they've tried to fight him, he stops the arrows, and you're just like, well, that's what our guy does. What can he do?
Exactly.
He's working on those cornfields. That's what he's doing right now.
And then they introduced. See, now that could have been the turning point of this season. If they showed us, because they showed us the cornfields right before I think the mid-season break.
I think so. Yeah.
And then we haven't seen them since. So we don't even have any clue what this. In season 1, and Ann, you most recently watched this. I remember in season 1, as soon as we got past the halfway mark, they kept mentioning the uprising.
Oh, 100%.
And you were just like, and the entire time you're just, what the hell is it? What the hell is it? What the hell is it? We have no idea what this cornfield is. And we have no idea of the threat or the magnitude of it. And that's why it's fallen flat.
And we haven't even gotten any little bites of the mayoral campaign.
That either.
Either. Like we're losing some huge storylines for an average breakdown.
And this is 11, 12?
12.
12.
Episode 13.
Episode 13. See, we're already past the halfway mark.
Yeah, so we have 9 episodes to go to like jump back in that, and we took one whole episode to defeat the League of Assassins again.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they're doing this because they want all this to bleed into next season. Maybe not everything, but like the mayoral campaign.
You could be right.
That's the only thing that makes sense, because there's a lot going on right now, and it's like you can't devote that much time to every single character.
And they do have a lot of balls in the air right now, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, I kind of wonder if there's not enough time to resolve it all.
I don't know, but I feel like they are just trying to fill time. I feel like the opposite. I feel like, they probably could tell the story in 5 really solid episodes, but they're just, obviously they have to stretch it out to 22 episodes. So they're, putting in throwaway villains or whatever they have to do in order to fill that time. Now, to Michael, what you just said, I remember reading an article where the writers were like, we write as if we are not going to have another season. And I really hope that they stick to that, right? Because that's a good mentality to have, is that if you don't have another season, how are you going to tell this story, and how are you going to make it a definitive ending for the fans and for yourself, to make sure that you have a story start to finish. And I hope that they continue to have that mentality as they go on.
Every season of TV really should be like that, because if you look at obviously that's totally different things, but if you look at something like a True Detective, right, which we know are one-offs, but at least we know that there's going to be a conclusion at the end of all of these seasons. If we could see some sort of beginning, middle, end, and we know that they're going to end, and we're like waiting for that season finale, then awesome. Right. But we're not getting that. There's so many loose ends right now that are like, if they time up real quick, it's gonna.
Well, they might, because again, look at how quick that fight between Arrow and Merlin was. It was literally 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like bam, 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 done. The calculator reveal, boom, 1 episode. There's something that it's interesting to watch how Arrow has progressed since the Flash exists now. And the Flash does this thing, and it takes after its Scarlet Speedster character. It introduces everything so fast.
Right.
And I think on a show where your character has speed, that works.
Right.
On a show where your character is immortal, I don't know if that works. And I can kind of see the temptation to be like, we got to go as fast as they do. But sometimes I'm on Arrow, I'm just like, man, if we just take a moment to breathe. Like, if this episode was all about the League of Assassins and not the calculator and not the other plot line, like there's what, 8 subplots going on right now?
Right.
There should really be only 4.
Right. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Agreed. Flashbacks, you guys. We haven't mentioned them in the positives.
I wonder why.
I feel like we're mentioning them in the negatives.
Since Constantine. I think it was the last time we gave it a positive.
Well, no, we talked.
The Shadow one.
Yeah. We
last
talked
week, I think.
positively about the Andy Diggle flashbacks in Afghanistan, which I liked. This one, I thought finally we're getting somewhere on the island with the bad guys, whatever we want to call them.
Ryder and his mercenaries.
Yeah, and his gang of unruly men. But there was a really lame part with the whole scene seems like you forgot the groceries I asked you to get in that jail cell kind of thing, as she's screaming at him, and then gives him the rock, but we all kind of said the same thing. It was like
what's the deal with this rock?
Yeah.
And there might be something with that rock, and we've completely forgotten it. But this should just go to show you how unremarkable it is that we were all sitting there, and I literally asked you guys, I was like, I know this rock has been in a previous episode, but what's the deal with it? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the flashbacks did absolutely nothing for me. Again, it was just one of those things like, all right, we're back on this rock. Here's Blitzkrieg, whatever. And I do not care.
And the flashbacks have the same problem that Damien Dark has right now. Remember season 1? Remember was Friars? Is his name?
Yeah, Friars.
Like episode 6 or 7, we meet Friars for the very first time. And he makes a huge impression because he's like, oh, hey, Deathstroke copy. Stick a knife in that guy, and you're just like, what the hell is this guy? We've gotten none of that from Ryder. Ryder's just a guy who talks, and he knows some sort of mumbo jumbo, and he whips his men sometimes. But other than that, it's like, okay, why am I threatened by this guy?
Right.
And I really hope this, so I know I said this just a few minutes ago, but I really hope this whole season is not like a basketball game where I just needed to watch the last two episodes to figure out, again, what's happening in the flashbacks. I know there's going to be a big reveal at some point. It's probably be at the end of the season.
That's how season 3 was. With
yeah,
the
exactly.
They didn't really pay off for me, but nonetheless, we got our reveal towards the end.
I'm also kind of wondering if this season is, because there have been some great episodes. There have been some episodes that took the show out of the doldrums of season 3.
Yeah, right.
And I wonder if they're taking it one episode at a time, and sometimes they hit that bullseye, and sometimes they don't. And I don't know, because right now I'm not seeing the long-term plan. Whereas I felt I saw them in season 1 and 2 and 3, But this season, I think we're losing the long-term plan, and they're focusing on these episodes, and they're making these singular episodes so solid at the disservice of the whole season.
Yep.
But I also think too is like this may be one of the rare maybe 1 or 2 of this season that was totally standalone. There was nothing continual from a lot of things that we've cared about for the first thing, besides at the end when Dark showed up.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, there was no mayoral campaign, like we said. Captain Lance showed up at one point just to be like,
no Dark.
Don't be shooting people in the streets. And then next scene, everybody's
No
getting shot in the
Andy.
streets.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the
no
one guy-
Andy.
Yep.
Diggle was just an ancillary character.
Yes.
Felicity and her dad was a cool thing, but it was a
No Curtis
glazed
Holt
over.
in this episode at
Right.
all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Laurel sort of played a decent.
She kind of helped Nissa.
Kind of helped Nessa, but at the end she was like, "Laurel, get out of the way," and they're like, "Oh well, all right, it makes sense." So again, it really just felt like we were building up, and then we got to a point of the mountain, and we got up there, and there was already a bunch of people up there, and you're like, "Wait, so wasn't that hard to get up here? We could have taken a chairlift."
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like we exited something that we'd been on an awesome path to, and this episode kind of stagnated.
Yeah. No, I agree. They must, maybe they have a checklist. Like, let's close off Red Arrow's or Arsenal's, storyline. Let's now end Nissa's storyline, and let's hopefully next week we will get to some of the main plot points that have been on hold.
Going back to the mayoral campaign.
Exactly.
And hopefully we have less of this acting choice, which I noticed, and I would like Josh Macuga to help me out.
Oh, I'm going to pass this to Ann.
Oh,
What?
Ann.
No.
Do it.
There was there was an
go.
acting choice that was in several scenes. Ann, if you would please be Oliver Queen, I will be Malcolm Merlin.
Okay.
And they did this in 3 scenes. There was an exorbitant amount of growling. So normal lines that should be like, say like Oliver, you're going to give me what I want, turned into Oliver, you're going to give me what I want. And then Oliver would respond in the same voice. Let's go ahead and hear it.
I'm not going to give you what you want.
You will,
No, never.
You're not and you were just like, why are they growling like Batman?
And there was one point when he paused for a really long time between. He's like, "It's either between me or Thea." It's like people don't talk like that.
Yeah.
I don't. It was, but no, I
It was an intense
100%
scene.
agree with you. There was the one point where we've giggled a couple times during the show, but where Malcolm was like, "Oliver, you can't tell me what to do," and I was like, "You either choose between me or the way." You don't tell me how to choose.
Like Oliver's final line to Merlin was like, "Don't you dare!" And you were like, "Why are you?"
And Lance comes out. He's like,
Testosterone
"Guys, this is
fuel.
my
This is my bit.
thing.
Hey,
This is my thing."
I'm gonna go look at this Ziploc bag over here.
Who shot the guy with the arrow in the street? Come
that was Lance's only thing besides arresting Felicity's thing. It's in that scene where he like brought Diggle and Stephen Amell to the crime scene. Yeah. There were a whole bunch of people there. One, why didn't nobody at that crime scene be like, "Hey, why did they get to go in?" But Diggle's like, "Yeah, look at all these arrows. Oh yeah. Oh yes, guy with the Ziploc bag. You go look." And he literally, there was a guy with a Ziploc bag, and he's sitting over there like, and you just see him like making small talk, and you're like.
And action on extras. And yeah.
Can I just say I'm so happy that Jason's Lance impression is back on this episode.
I think we can get Paul Blackburn on the show. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's have a Lance off.
A Lance off. Exactly.
I was going to say a thorn off, but Lance.
All right, so that's going to do it for our recap. We want to hear from you guys, and I know you had a lot of questions, a lot of comments regarding tonight's episode. There was a lot of kind of oh wow, oh crap moments in tonight's episode. So let's get to the Twitter questions. So Chainsaw Reacts says, since Malcolm told Damien about Oliver's son, do you think Oliver will actually kill Malcolm this time? Hashtag Collider Arrow. So yes, William was one of those names that was peppered throughout the whole episode. And, you know, it was one of those things for me, you guys, where I had to cringe every time I heard William, only because I'm hoping that the showrunners, whatever, still have balls to, you know, make sure that one of the main characters, maybe one of these people that is a figure here, is in that grave. But now that we have the mention of William, you guys, I'm starting to think maybe William's in the grave. So what do you guys think?
I disagree. I don't think they're going to go that dark. I don't think. Oh, how old is he, first of all? What is he, like 8?
8 or
something
something?
like that?
9. He's playing with toys.
10.
10?
I thought he's older than 10.
I feel like the difference between 8 and 12 is really like
sure.
minimal.
Okay, he's in that range.
Well, he's got to at least be 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And the flashback that we saw in season 2 was how much before he got on the boat? I don't know. I know somebody. I know we've talked about this before, and I know somebody told us. So
yeah.
He's at least 10.
Yeah.
Watch it end up being William. That would be messed up. I don't see it happening.
So the island was 5 years. We're in season 4, so he's at least 9.
That's his minimum.
That's his minimum. So he's probably about 10.
Yeah, 10 or 11 maybe.
10 or 11. So he's a fully formed human being that has feelings. And I mean, I'm just saying, like, you don't kill a 12-year-old, especially CW. Like, they have trouble showing like bare back on a woman, let alone, you know, I mean, like the sex scenes in CW shows are basically like, let's start kissing, and then they flash in like the bed sheets up here. So we're not going to see the killing of a kid. I've said this all along. Every time we get a Twitter recommendation of it, I've always said the same thing. It's too dark for CW. Now, if they did do it, I'll eat a mustache chicken parm again. I don't know what to tell you.
No, you put that on.
I kind of want to go back to what the Twitter question was. Do we think Oliver will kill Malcolm? Because I want to bring up the point. I still wish that Malcolm died in season 1, because you watch season 1. I watched season 1 live.
Both
Oliver killed him.
Yeah.
He was dead. And then, like, I remember episode 1 of season 2, him being like, "Well, Malcolm got away," and you were like, "What? No,
total glance over.
Like, arrow through the heart. He's dead. You know, like, yeah, they completely like retconned it. I think because they were like, no, we can't get rid of John Barrowman, but no, he was dead. I wish he had stayed dead in season 1, because I think it would just made season 1 more powerful. I think yes, Oliver will somehow kill Malcolm. I don't know when or where. And the only way I would want William in that grave is if it's what we talked about with Felicity, that they're faking that the kid's in the grave so that nobody can hurt his kid, and they're like, oh, we've given them the code name Connor Hawk.
Yeah,
that's the only way I want that kid in that grave.
I agree.
That it's a fake out.
Yeah.
And then we've been betting this whole season that there's a body in the grave, and then it's a fake
there's
out.
No body. Yeah. It's a fake out to so let's just go crazy scenario here. Okay. Let's say the Green Arrow identity is out in the world. Everybody, it's been revealed that Green Arrow has a son, so they fake the death, and the only 2 people that know is Oliver and Felicity.
Interesting.
That's why Barry shows up. That's why like any of the stuff like that. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a stretch.
I mean, this
it's
whole
totally
show loves a good bait and switch, like most comic
Yeah.
books, anything like that. So
I still don't think
mind
it's
it.
Thea. I know some people are leaning. I still think Thea's too obvious. I know there was a poster that was revealed just the other day or something that shows Malcolm hovering over Thea, and again, it's too on the nose.
I think it was the poster for this episode, actually.
I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. So that's just too on the nose. There's just no way.
I will say if they killed Malcolm, I don't think anybody would be really upset about it at all because
No.
it
Especially
really
now.
And because every time.
Oh, you would?
I would absolutely
I'm sorry,
be
Ann.
upset.
I did a spiel about
I'm
killing
the
your favorite
one.
character.
I'm right here.
I think
the one
I said
person.
Malcolm,
Yeah.
not Colton Haynes.
Hey,
I did.
Malcolm.
Do you think? Well, let's go even more. Do you think Malcolm will survive the entire series, or does he die before the end of the series?
Here's how I would write it if I
Okay,
had
sure.
a choice. I would have the very last episode of this Arrow awesomeness be Malcolm's death. I think he's that powerful of a character for me that Oliver has let him live this long. And I'm saying that, purposefully. He's let him live because there have been opportunities to kill him.
Plenty.
But at the same time, I think Malcolm's been the most formidable, like the most, the strongest character to go up against Oliver Queen as the Arrow. I think even Deathstroke would die before Malcolm does.
I
at this
agree with
point.
you. I love Malcolm. I love Barrowman. He's a fantastic actor. I don't see it though. I don't think he's going to last that long. I think eventually it's got to come to a head. Because let's be
I
honest,
think he's done next season.
No.
If he even survives,
I think
if
he's
he
done
survives this
this
season,
season.
if he even survives this season, I think he's done. He's dead by the end of next season.
I mean, seriously, as much as I love his character, how much longer can we keep the story going?
Exactly,
Really?
especially since he lost the League of Assassins. now.
Exactly.
So what is he gonna do?
Yeah.
He has one hand. I know. I get it. Like every season, he's going to lose a limb,
Yeah,
but
they're
still.
like keep chopping them up. Before you know, it's just gonna be torso Merlin.
It's just a flesh wound.
Okay, maybe I'm the one fan on
Yep.
the Team Barrowman, Team Merlin
Well, we know
train.
he's not going on this show now.
If we could get John Barrowman on the show, I'd be telling you.
Next question, please. Comes from, Yaritza, who asks, do you think Felicity's father is going to remain imprisoned? It is Star City, where law enforcement is not good at all.
Dot,
very,
dot, dot.
That's an
very,
excellent point.
very true.
I have a prediction about this.
Oh, here
Go
we go.
for it.
I
We
think
need some Jolin prediction music.
I know. They're lacking.
I think that he's in jail until the end of this season. And because I think that we're going to flip the switch and we're going to see Felicity going to the jail cell having scenes with her father, and that's how she'll get to know him. And I think they'll play that storyline where she'll think that, she's turning around, and then at the very end, whatever big villain thing that happens in Damien Dark, his jail cell will open and he will escape to foil her in future seasons. So
I could see that with all the randomness that's been going on this
Yeah.
season, all the storylines. That would be something that I think would be believable to bleed into next season or maybe future seasons after that.
Eventually, all the villains get let out of Arkham, right? Like
Yeah.
all the time. Arkham's always being somebody breaks into Arkham. This is the same thing. I think they're going to imprison him, but like we know, Star City Police is about as good as a League of Assassins. They all hang out at a crappy bar talking about how crappy they are at their jobs. Okay, so I think I'm in total agreement with this. I think he stays in prison for a bit, but then Damien Dark breaks a bunch of people out of jail, and he's one of them. And the Calculator comes in and hacks his way into beating Felicity or somehow taking over because hell hath no fury like a hacker scorn.
like a father scorn?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a computer hacker scorn. There you go.
I kind of hope they don't play up that whole reunited as Papa's in jail kind of thing, because we saw that with Moira and Thea.
Yeah.
They kind of rekindled as Moira was in prison and she learned to forgive her while Moira was still locked up. I think I like your point in that, Dark's going to see the value in Noah in the Calculator and know that he is somebody that can go up against somebody like Felicity and maybe even outsmart her. And so he will figure out a way to get him out of that one lock, one key prison that they have in Star
Yeah.
City.
And he'll definitely do it too, because a crazy question to the panel: how much longer till Dark figures out? I mean, to me, I think they've stretched it already past the point of belief that Damien Dark doesn't know that Oliver Queen is the Arrow.
Yeah.
How many more episodes? He finds out before the end of the season. Guaranteed.
God,
Oh,
he has
yeah.
to.
But I
see
think
that
as soon
with-
as he finds out who he is, he breaks the Calculator out to screw with Felicity.
Well, I think it's going to be really soon now that Malcolm's already told him about William. And so I think it's going to happen maybe, if not this upcoming episode, maybe the next.
Oh, for sure. Agreed. Next question. Comes from Evan. Thank you for an easy Twitter handle. Who asks, what do you guys think of a Calculator, Malcolm, and Damien Dark team up in the future? I think
we
we're
just
already
touched
talking
on
about
that,
that.
yeah.
You hit it.
I don't
I can
think
see
Malcolm
something.
is in that group. I don't think Malcolm joins Damien Dark.
Really?
Malcolm's not a team up guy. We've seen that for like 3 seasons. He doesn't team up with people. Like, the only reason he gave that piece of
Yeah,
information.
but that was two-handed Malcolm.
Oh, that's true.
With one
That's
hand.
an
a whole
point.
different ballgame.
That's an excellent point. But I
He
could
might-
see him doing that if he's trying to maybe use Damien Dark to his own advantage. You know, maybe he's playing Damien. So like, oh yeah, I'm going to join your team to basically help me kill Oliver and the rest of those guys.
steal your crops.
And then just and that corn that you got. Yeah.
Mystery corn.
I like that. I mean, maybe I'm overvaluing Malcolm again. The number one person on the Malcolm train here.
The Malcolm train.
yes.
To Bloodhaven.
But like Michael said, like he is very much about his self gain. Like anything that will benefit him, he is all for. He was for Thea dying in tonight's episode in order for him to keep the reins of the demon's head. So I wouldn't put it
That's
past
where I think you
Malcolm.
and I think that's where you put it now is that like before he was training Thea, he was helping her bloodlust, he was making her into a warrior, and then he was like, she can die. It's like, well, now you can die.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think we can finally get rid of Malcolm.
Yes.
I'll be the only one at the
Sorry,
funeral, Malcolm. I'm sorry. All right, so let's go into predictions because we did get a glimpse into next week's episode. I know Hive was a very heavy theme in next week's episode. So I know we like to talk about who's in the grave, but let's talk about what we think is happening next week and how we're going to lead up into hopefully what we'll see is a crazy, crazy epic finale. Josh, let's start with you.
I feel like we just started with me and I'm like the guy that's not ready to order
Okay,
dinner.
Jason, let's start with you.
I already gave my predictions out like during the middle of the episode. But let's go for next episode. Here, we'll go crazy. We're going to see a debate between Mrs. Dark and Oliver. There will be some scene where we'll see Peyton Manning, campaign manager, write on a napkin.
Tim Tebow.
He'll say Queen. Oh, thank you. Queen for America, and he'll lick it and he'll stick it on the. That's a West Wing joke. I think next week's episode is going to be Die Hard. They're going to get stuck in the convention hall, and the whole episode is going to be there. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of code lockout, computer code, something where Felicity's like, "Hey, Dad, I need your help hacking this. Clickety, clickety, clickety."
No.
Yeah.
See, what I have isn't so much of a prediction, just like a request. I want to see more Mr. Terrific. I want to see more Curtis. I want to see, again, you keep teasing those T-spheres. I want to start seeing something with those T-spheres. I want to keep
He
moving
was
in
so
that direction.
heavy at the beginning of the season and he just was disappeared. Last episode.
It's a thing like we've talked about, man, where there's all these plots. Like, again, who has forgotten about the corn? And then also, what was that weird map stone thing that we showed?
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
completely forgotten.
Gone. Yeah.
Okay, you guys, is Deadshot dead? I'm sorry, I can't remember.
He blew up.
Yeah.
He blew up.
He blew
okay, so he's not going to be in next week's episode.
He'll be in the Suicide Squad, though.
Yes.
Movie that's coming out. He'll be there.
Well, you're gonna, if let's just say that if you watch another CW show, you might have some happy surprises.
Yes.
Oh.
We won't.
Dang it.
We won't. No spoilers.
Okay, I have to catch up.
spoilers.
Yeah.
All right, so for next week's episode, I feel like maybe more Andy, maybe, because, Diggle has a brother that we had a resolution to maybe 2 episodes ago, and they completely forgot about him.
Which means we might see him again in another 3 or 4.
You know what he's gonna
Yeah.
do?
But Diggle might use Andy to break into the convention hall.
Right.
Or Andy might be part of the security team.
One of the two. Yeah.
That are now guarding Oliver, and then he knows how to beat Hive, like where Hive's first moves would be, something like that.
Yeah, maybe. I like that you guys are all alluding to the mayoral campaign again, because we haven't seen that in any of the
We need a
episodes
good
lately.
debate episode of Arrow. I feel
Yes,
Arrow's missing
please.
that.
Yeah.
I want to hear them talk about taxes and sales tax.
And now that we know Mrs. Dark is in the race, I'd like to just kind of have some camera time with her. I just get used to hating her.
Trump
So
comes out, "We're gonna
hopefully that
build a
will
wall."
The Star City Wall.
come. Josh, are you ready?
Yeah, okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
I think what we're going to see next week is that elixir didn't work perfectly on Thea.
Ooh, okay.
I think yes, I love the Die Hard idea, and that's what we basically saw from the trailer, is that they put that thing in Thea, and it's working, but Thea is this constant, like, crap, she has pneumonia. Pneumonia went away, pneumonia's back. Pneumonia went away, pneumonia's back. It's just like this recurring disease of the bloodlust. Because I'm really leaning towards Thea being in that grave.
I'm with you, buddy. I really am.
Okay, let's.
We talked about this a couple weeks
do
ago,
the
too,
check-in
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
So Thea.
It's interesting the two Lance boys like are
All
now
right.
leaning Thea.
Thea.
Thea's gonna be
Michael,
I got
who's in the grave?
plenty of Ziploc bags to look at.
Oh, man. This is
Thea?
tough. It's got to be
Thea?
somebody that's going to make an impact. Now, I'm starting to think maybe it might not be Mama Lance. It could. Mama Smoke. It could be Lance. I'm
She
thinking
might be
Lance.
Mama Lance soon.
Very good point. I don't think it's going to be William, but depending on like what the rest of the season looks like, if they do follow up with that story arc, maybe his mother, if she ends up playing a significant role from here on out. You know,
We only have 9 more episodes. We're really going to introduce another character?
I know.
Well,
That isn't a
she's-
superhero?
Why stop now?
True.
You know.
So who did you say?
I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna stick with Lance.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sticking with mine. I think it's Diggle. Sorry.
Wow. Diggle going down.
Yeah.
Wait. So you think they introduced Andy to replace him? Like, are you switching out one Diggle for the other on the team?
Yeah, I think the team is full enough.
Diggle, no Diggle.
And again, I have
can only have one
very
Diggle
high
on a
hopes.
team.
Very, very,
Can
very
only
high
be one,
hopes
Jason.
that they will do what they did to me in season 1 when they took Tommy away from me. So I feel like
still
they can
burning.
do
Is
that
that why you
again.
glommed on to Malcolm because you missed Tommy so much?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly it.
I knew it.
4 seasons
right.
later, you're still hurting.
I know. I will forever have that wound, just like Thea has that.
Oh, yeah. It's like the Harry Potter scar, but on your...
Yeah.
All right, you guys, that's going to do it for this week's episode, Sins of the Father. We are so happy you're able to join us. Make sure to continue to tweet us using the hashtag #ColliderArrow, as well as watch this episode, like this episode, and share this episode. And leave your comments in the comment section because all of us love to check and debate and talk and all that good stuff with you guys in our comment section. So again, tweet us using the hashtag #ColliderArrow, and we will see you guys next week. And Josh, where can people follow you?
At Josh Macuga on Twitter and Instagram, here on Collider, doing the Arrow recap show, and my YouTube channel, Between the Sheets TV.
And Michael?
You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Michael Alexis, and also on Instagram at Mr. Michael Alexis 14. That's 14.
Jason?
Don't you promote your social media that way. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jawin, Jawin, where I share an Arrow meme every week, and youtube.com/Jawin.
I cannot do that impression, but you guys
Keep doing
can follow me
might be time to end the show.
at Malcolm Merlin's #1fan.com. I am at Ann Campea on all of the social media networks. And again, tweet us. We love all your crazy theories and all your comments regarding last night's or tonight's episode, as well as your theories for next week's episode. So again, until next week, continue to tweet us using hashtag #ColliderArrow, and we will talk to you guys next week. Thanks. Hood up.